having both parents be performers and artists, I was wondering how the dream was born for you and when the commitment took hold for you in terms of your own career and how it has evolved over the years and what the evolution process is like. And I'm assuming there's like a commitment and recommitment process because I'm sort of in the like to each phase of your multifaceted
I mean, I think for me, when you say the DNA, and my mom, well, not everyone knows this, but my mom was pregnant with me when she was 8 months pregnant. And so the sound of my mother's voice is a very visceral, she was singing the aria of My Man's Gone Now, and Porgy and Bess. So to hear her voice, I mean, is such a visceral experience. But she was on the road doing Porgy and Bess, and I was 7, and I was on stage with her in Portugal. And I just remember having a moment on stage where I was imagining someone in my family had passed away in this scene, and I burst into tears, hysterically crying on stage, and I was like, oh man, I want to do this. That was the moment that I just felt like, whoa,
everything came.
It just lined up, and then life happens. I was 7, like many things happen, and then. But when I got into Performing Arts High School, that was the moment where I met a teacher there. His name is Anthony Abeson, and it was just this awakening. It was almost like a mission was truly awakened in my life for acting. And then I met another friend who's a wonderful actor named Helen Slater. She's also a singer-songwriter, and I'd sing all of her original songs. And so songwriting and music were both birthed at that school for me, but primarily acting was my first focus, my main focus at that time.
I wanted to ask, obviously the fame experience is a pivotal in your career gateway, as I put it, because it was like a gateway.
Absolutely.
How was the journey for you dealing with the explosion sort of into the business at 17 years old, and what is it like to know that the legacy and that work has created for performers over the years, and that there's just, I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's occultish, but it's it's taken a pivotal thing for people.
Well, I think for me, the greatest thing, because I went to performing arts, and the greatest thing I felt was I needed to do my school proud. That was and then I also fell in love with that character. But the main point I want to say is that it was a time that it was overwhelming, the fame of it all, because it was not just America, it was the world.
Yeah, you did international.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Concerts and all things that the people that saw you in America never really
didn't really. Yeah, and so that was a lot to take in at such a young age. But the thing now, what really sustains me is when I meet people. Like, I had this great experience when I was on Grey's Anatomy, and actually it was SandraOh who I was sitting in the makeup trailer next to her, and she looked at me, and I've liked her work on that show, and she's like,
great.
She's so good. She looks at me, she goes, oh my God, she starts bursting into tears. I'm like, what the hell just happened, And she just hugs me, and she just said, you don't know, when I saw that show, that inspired me to do what I do. And she said, a friend of mine asked you to give me an autograph, and I'm talking years ago, and on a napkin, I wrote her name, I wrote my signature, and I just said something like, follow your dream. And it was like, my point in saying that is that you don't know how we can ignite each other in our dreams. That to me is the legacy that I feel most proud about. When people come up to me, if it's a visual artist or a dancer that says, when I saw you, there weren't many people that looked like you on TV at the time. That inspired me to follow my dream. That to me is what is the most gratifying, because it lit a flame. And I just feel like in my life, what has sustained me as actors, I just did this movie here, Theo Papi, and one of the people that I love, Frankie Faison, and I'm talking about you, Frankie, is that he has been an actor that I've seen in August Wilson's plays that have totally blew my mind, and our conversations inspired me to go to my next steps now. So it's how as artists we ignite each other, the flame in which we go, don't give up, keep going, going. We give that to each other.
Exactly.
And that, I think, that's the greatest gift we can give.